Alright, so today's video, we are going to be looking at some MAUGA Mythbusters interactions. We've been doing these with new heroes pretty much every season, which people have always enjoyed, so here we are again. Obviously, MAUGA's changed a little bit since MAUGA was last played in November, when there was that time to be able to try out MAUGA at BlizzCon, or during that time. So, you know, we'll go over some of those changes a little bit later on, and we're going to test some of these interactions. So before we get right into the interactions, we're just going to give you a quick overview of what these abilities do. You have the Incendiary Chain Gun, which when you use that, it will ignite enemies on repeated impacts. To go along with that, your other button will be the Volatile Chain Gun, the Volatile Chain Gun, which will be an automatic weapon that deals critical damage to burn enemies. So if you use the Incendiary Chain Gun, that will burn the enemies, and then you can get the critical damage with the Volatile Chain Gun. You can use both those buttons at the same time. Then we have Cage Fight, which is the ultimate. It's really fun. You're going to see it a lot in this video. The Cage Fight will deploy a barrier that traps yourself and enemies, and you gain unlimited ammo when inside of it. So you can just have a bunch of fun in there, and I think it lasts for about 10 seconds. Then, ability-wise, you have Overrun. You can charge forward and stomp to launch enemies, and you are unstoppable while charging. So you'll see throughout some of the interactions, we'll test if you can interrupt that with some heroes. You will go through that, and you'll see. Then you have a Cardiac Overdrive, which nearby allies take reduced damage and heal by dealing damage. Also, MAUGA does heal during that also. Then you also have passive Berserker, which you gain temporary health when dealing critical damage, where this combo can work really well with having that Incendiary and Volatile Chain Gun combo going there. When you get that critical damage, you'll get a little bit of that overshield, which you'll see. And then you have obviously the tank passive and all that. So we're gonna start with D.Va. Couple of questions within this one interaction. One, when D.Va ults, will the Cage Fight reattach to Baby D.Va? And two, can you use your movement abilities that D.Va has? Can you fly out of the ultimate with can you fly out with your ultimate? Can you use the ultimate to get out, etc.? We'll see what happens. To give just a reminder on Cage Fight deploys a barrier that traps yourself and enemies. And then when you're in there as MAUGA, you have unlimited ammo while inside. So here we go. So D.Va cannot fly, cannot use movement abilities, and then Baby D.Va gets reattached to the ultimate. So you won't be able to escape by using, like, the momentum of Baby D.Va to get out. Can Doomfist use the movement abilities inside of Cage Fight? And can Doomfist ult out of Cage Fight? Doomfist cannot use the movement abilities, and Doomfist cannot ult inside of Cage Fight. One thing you're going to notice with a lot of these, like, heroes is that the interactions and the movement abilities are not... Once you're in there, like, you're not going to be able to use, like, an escape like that. One little note, though, this is completely random. Doomfist ultimate is now buffed, so you get healed when you're in your ultimate. That's pretty cool. What happens when you Junker Queen ult into Cage Fight? So as you can see, when you ult into the Cage Fight, you'll go into it, and then the Cage Fight will stop all the momentum and stop the ultimate. So you might be able to purple people right there really close, but otherwise it stops the ultimate completely, so you can't run right through it. The Junker Queen's ultimate purple somebody close to it. It actually does not. So Queen ult will just stop as it hits the Cage Fight and does not purple people on the edge right here. And Junker Queen ult out of the Cage Fight. As you can see, Junker Queen can't even use the ultimate because it's a movement ability within it. So if you're in there with Junker Queen ultimate, you won't be able to use it. You can use Command and Shout, but no Junker Queen ult. Can Orisa fortify out of Cage Fight? So Orisa can get out of Cage Fight, which we'll find out that a lot of heroes can't. So if you're on Orisa, you can get right out of that ultimate. Now here's the next question. Does Orisa's ultimate do damage through Cage Fight if you're on the other side? So if you're right here, and then Orisa ults, it does pull you, and if you're within that range, it does do damage to you. So, if you're an Orisa and you're not in the ultimate with your teammates, you could Orisa ult and actually team wipe because the ultimate could help that much. So sometimes the ultimate could be in favor of the enemy team. Does Orisa's Fortify stop Overrun? So Orisa's Fortify doesn't stop Overrun, but you do have to go around the Orisa in the sense that it will slow you down ever so slightly. So it'll be an inconvenience, but it doesn't stop you in place. Does Ramattra's ultimate get blocked by the Cage Fight? As in, can it go to people outside of the Cage Fight? So we're going to ult right now. As you can see, the Roadhog's outside of it, but the Ramattra does get me, but it does not do damage to the Roadhog outside of it, as you can see. So Ramattra's ultimate will be blocked by the Cage Fight. Does Reinhardt charge cancel Overrun? Just as a reminder of what Overrun is, you charge forward and you stomp to launch enemies. But you are unstoppable while charging. But will Reinhardt be able to countercharge you during that? Let's find out. As you can see, the Reinhardt does not stop you, and the Reinhardt will kind of end up around the area where that charge took place. So it ends up going to a point where Rein won't charge past you, and on top of that, you can go right past the Reinhardt, and it won't stop you in place. Can you shatter past the cage? You cannot. Big slam, though. Big slam. Does Reinhardt's shield block the cage fight chains? It does not. So if you have your shield up, it will not stop the chains. It will keep you in the ultimate. It won't. It just keeps you attached to it. Can Roadhog hook you out of Overrun? Roadhog cannot. So as you see, the hook will hit you, but you'll run right by. How quickly can Roadhog's ultimate destroy the cage fight shield? Really fast. We'll have the editors get the timer in there and all that, but as you can see, if you are inside of that cage fight and you're a Roadhog and you have your ultimate, use that ultimate, because you will get out of there really quickly. What happens if Sigma is outside of the cage fight and then tries to ult you? As you can see, you can Sigma ult into the cage fight, and on top of that, say your teammate's on the other side of it, it will go through that shield and get both of you. So Sigma's ultimate will be good against that. Here, we'll show that right now with the Roadhog, as you can see. So Roadhog is outside of the shield, I'm inside of it, and as you can see, it lifts both of us up into the air, doing a lot of damage. Can Winston jump out of the cage fight or use any of the movement abilities? No, you cannot. Can you use Winston's ultimate to have movement ability? You cannot. So the same thing will happen as you've seen with other heroes. Winston will not be able to use that movement ability during the cage fight. Can you jump into the cage fight if you're there to help your teammates or anything like that? You can. So if you need to help your teammates, you can go in there, but may not go as well. If you bubble on the outside of cage fight, will it go into the shield to possibly help your teammates? As you can see, it will. So if your teammates, you can communicate this. You could be on the other side of that, which will help you a little bit. Does Winston's Tesla cannon go through cage fight? Oh, perfect. What a treat. It does. As you can see, it's damaging the Roadhog, so it means if you're on the other side, it would do the same thing. I'm taking damage through. Which, Winston already does that, but you never know, just making sure. Does Wrecking Ball's grapple stop MAUGA's overrun? It does not. And it will slow the momentum a little bit of Wrecking Ball too, so. Basically, to summarize with this, good luck trying to stop most of these overruns, outside of damage. If Wrecking Ball tries to pile drive into a cage fight, will it stop the pile drive from happening? As you can see, it does. So if Wrecking Ball tries to go in there with a pile drive, it will stop the Wrecking Ball from doing that, which is, good to know, because if Wrecking Ball tries that, a pile drive certainly ain't gonna happen. Can you grapple while inside of the cage fight? Or outside of it? Can you grapple the cage? Based off of everything I'm seeing, no. Can you deploy the mines while inside of the cage fight? You can, so this would be a pretty good ultimate to have inside of here, I would say. So if you are Wrecking Ball, that can work out very well. Can Zaria bubble out of the cage fight? As you can see, the bubble does not prevent that. You will still be inside of there, so it doesn't work like Orisa does with Fortify. If you are on Zaria, the bubbles will not get you out of there. Can Zaria, if outside of the cage fight or inside of the cage fight, lift people up onto the bubble like you would like a wall or something like that with grab? So say I'm over here, and then I get grabbed up, I can, and this can be helpful. This could help your team, this could possibly result in a victory, a team fight, or just help your team, so it's good to know that. So we're gonna test two things at once here. First one is can Bob run all the way through a cage fight? And if not, can you use the Berserker regen to be able to survive off of that Bob? Now, obviously you can use the overdrive and things like that, but let's just see what happens if that is the case. Here we go. As you can see, I'm also right-clicking the Bob, and if you look at my HP is barely going down. So not only would I be able to 1v1 the Bob, I would basically lose about 150 HP or so. So yeah, if Bob goes in there and you use that, which would be your right click or whatever, just to summarize here, you have your incendiary chain gun and your volatile chain gun. I was using only the volatile chain gun there, so if you use both your left click and your right click, you would probably shred Bob and also survive the Bob damage. So the next part we have here is, will Ashe's dynamite assist you with the volatile chain gun? So the way it works with MAUGA is that your incendiary chain gun will ignite the enemies, and then your volatile chain gun will crit on a burning enemy. So the question is, if Ashe dynamites somebody, will the volatile chain gun crit? As you can see, I'm shooting at Roadhog's, like, not at the headshot, all over the place. It does work. So Ashe's dynamite does help MAUGA. So if you dynamite people, you're good to go. It will have that critical damage on them right away. See? Not hitting any headshots here, and I'm still getting critical damage. So it is definitely worth following up on an Ashe's Dynamite. It always is, but now it's even more so with MAUGA. Is Bastion's ultimate blocked by the cage fight barrier? Now, you can ult into the cage fight, but if it's on the other side of the cage fight, will it do damage? So you'll see the cage fight, the Bastion will be on the other side. I'm standing here, it does not do damage. It does damage to the cage, but it will not do damage to anybody on the other side. Just like with shields. The next question we have here is, does cage block the Deadeye? So there's a thing here where if you Deadeye and people stand behind the shield, it can still break the shield and then get people. So we have 4 Roadhogs there, which I don't know if that will affect it completely, but we'll see if the High Noon, when fully locked on and held for a while, will break the cage and then also get the people in it. Here we go. It looks like it will, based off of what I just saw. So the answer to that is yes. You can hold your High Noon to a cage fight, and it will break the shield and get people in it. How many? It depends how many you have, like, fully locked on. What happens, and you could technically test this with MAUGA in general, but what happens if you have 2 cage fights at the same time? Let's find out. Looks like you're just gonna... You're just gonna be having fun. That's pretty much where we're at right now. I don't. that's all I got for it. What happens when Echo's flying in the air when cage fight is used? It will bring the Echo down to the ground, so you will lose that momentum that you have with the Echo ability. Can Genji wall climb the cage? Genji cannot wall climb the cage. Can you dash as Genji inside of here? Inside of the cage? You cannot dash as Genji either. So once again, a lot of movement abilities are not usable in this. Can Genji deflect the cage fight? As not like to prevent the ultimate, but to prevent the chains from attaching. The chains still attach. Genji also cannot double jump inside of there either. For Hanzo, it goes with the same thing. You won't be able to, like, climb up as Hanzo inside of the cage fight, as we just saw. Genji wasn't able to wall climb. Can you use your lunge ability inside of the cage fight? You cannot. Can you just randomly shoot your dragon so it looks cool? You can. It will look cool. That's what matters. Can JunkRat use mines inside of cage fight? To jump, that is. To use mobility. Actually, it looks like JunkRat can use the mines to move around inside of the cage fight. That's interesting. Can Tyre go inside of the cage fight? The Tyre can go inside of the cage fight. Can't leave it, but can go into it. So if you want to help your team in there, you can do that. Can the JunkRat trap pull you outside of the cage fight? Yeah, it doesn't look like that would work. How fun of a combo is Mei ult and cage fight? Let's find out. You can throw the Mei ult into it. That just looks cool. Like, that is going to be such a fun ultimate to follow up on. Can you Mei ult from the enemy team into the cage fight? You can. So on both teams, you'll be able to Mei ult into it. So it could be a great combo for one of the teams if Mei does have ultimate. Can Mei ice block out of the cage fight? So as you can see, when Mei uses ice block, it still keeps the chain onto Mei. Can Mei use the ice wall to block the LOS of the chain and get out of the ultimate? As you can see, the chain is still working, so there's no way for Mei to get out. As of right now, one of the few heroes I see that gets out of it is Orisa. If you Mei wall first, will that prevent the ultimate from attaching to the Mei or anybody behind it? As you can see, it does not. It does go through the Mei wall. So if you're trying to use a Mei wall to block the ultimate, it won't stop the chains from going through. Can you pull Phara while Phara's flying above with cage fight? You can. As it see, it will get the Phara out of there, and you can't use any of your movement abilities inside of the cage fight. Well, you can use that to knock people back, and it doesn't knock you out of it, so. Perfect. Can Reaper teleport out of the cage? Reaper cannot teleport out of the cage. Can Reaper teleport in the cage? As in, like, when you're in the cage, can you teleport? So Reaper also cannot teleport while in the cage. So just to summarize on this for Reaper, as we just found out with that, you can't use either of your movement abilities when you're inside of the cage. Can Reaper teleport into the cage? Reaper can teleport into the cage. What happens if Reaper uses Wraith form into the cage? You still will have the ability active, but you won't be able to get out. Does Disruptor Shock go through the cage? It doesn't, but you can be inside of the radius if you're there. Can Soujourn use a movement ability, the slide, to get out of the cage? No movement abilities are used, so there you go. Can Soldier 76 ult people on the other side of the cage fight? More than likely not, but you never know. Based off of what I'm seeing, nope. So you can at least wave to people or run into it and then join everybody in here for fun. Does the cage fight disable Soldier 76's sprint? It does. So if you're in here as Soldier 76, you can't even sprint. This is a pretty strong ultimate, by the way. I love how Orisa so far has been the only hero to get out of it. Can Sombra EMP cage fight? Sombra can. So that will completely nullify the ultimate. Can Sombra hack the ultimate? Just hack me. So if Sombra hacks you while in the ultimate, it will not stop the ult. If Sombra's in stealth, does it get the Sombra into cage fight? It does, and we'll take Sombra to stealth. Can Sombra translocate out of the cage fight? Sombra can't even use the ability. Can Sombra hack MAUGA out of Overrun? So as you can see, Sombra will get the hack onto MAUGA, but it will not stop the charge. So you can continue on with your charge. Can Sombra EMP you out of Overrun? EMP also does not stop your Overrun. It will hack you in a sense that, like, you'll have a debuff on you, but it will not stop your charge. So, as we saw with Ashe earlier, when you use Dynamite, it benefited MAUGA also because of the fire damage. Does Torb's ultimate also benefit the volatile chain gun? As you can see, it does. So Torb's ultimate also helps. I'm getting critical damage the whole time while that ultimate is active on that Roadhog. See? And now that it's gone, it gets rid of that. Now, obviously, I can set that with the left click, but it's cool that you have that ability to have the combo with heroes like Torb and Ashe. It's just a cool little addition to that. Can Tracer blink through an active cage fight? So, just to summarize on that, it looks like Tracer, if you're on the very edge of it, you'll be able to kind of like blink through it, but it's going to be a very difficult blink. So, more than likely, you'll end up inside of the cage, but there are ways to do that. It would just have to be like based off where the ultimate's placed, etc. Can Tracer use any movement abilities while in the cage? Tracer cannot. Tracer can't blink. Tracer can't recall. Tracer can pulse bomb. Oh, but that's good to have. Can Widow grapple out of the cage? Widow can't even use the ability, so that just completely prevents the ability. And as we've seen, most of the movement abilities are prevented. You just can't, if not all of them, you just can't use them. Although JunkRat could use the mines. Can Widowmaker grapple through the cage? As you can see, it will lock onto the Widow, and Widow will end up in here. The next one we have here is, can you do some sweet Venom mines in the cage fight? You can. As you can see, I just got Venom mined. It's pretty sweet. So just as a reminder, Cardiac Overdrive will have nearby allies take reduced damage and you heal by dealing damage. So when we use that, MAUGA will also have that. So the question here is, will Ana's Grenade benefit that? So what we'll do is we'll start off with 172 HP here, and we'll see how quickly I am able to get all the way up damage-wise without the Ana Grenade. So you can see, that's how quickly it took. Does Ana Grenade boost the healing of your Cardiac Overdrive? Based on what I just saw, I'd say so, yes, but we'll also have a timer on that and see how that was, or the comparison. Can Ana nano you if they're outside of the cage fight? Ana can nano you, so if you're in there and the Ana's on in there with you, you can just get nanoed, and the Ana doesn't have to go in there. Can BAP use the rocket boots to get out of cage fight? BAP cannot. The reason why you were able to go up there initially was because the ult just went off, but before that, like, yeah, you can't use your movement ability to BAP. Can Brig bash out of the cage fight? Brig cannot. I don't even think Brig can bash. So when you're inside of the cage fight, you cannot use your bash as Brig. On the enemy team, of course. Can Illari attach the healing pylon to the top of the cage? And can the Illari use the ultimate to get out? So, the enemy pylon will leave the cage, as we can see. Can Illari ult out of the cage? So Illari will go up into the air with the initial burst of the ultimate, but will not be able to get out of the cage with that. Good ultimate to have in here, though. Can Kiriko cleanse the chains from the cage fight? As you can see, Kiriko cannot cleanse the chains. Can Kiriko TP out of the cage, though, to a teammate? Kiriko cannot. Can Kiriko Kitsune into the cage to help teammates? Kiriko can use Kitsune to go through the cage. So, yes, it's a good thing to have. So if your teammates get stuck in there, you could Kitsune and help your teammates. You could also shift in there afterwards, use cleanse, etc. So that is good to know. Can LifeWeaver life grip a teammate out of the cage? LifeWeaver can, so we have found a way for teammates to be able to escape the cage fight. Can LifeWeaver use Petal to get out of the cage? It does not look like you can get out of the cage with the Petal. But you can use it to kind of like interrupt the ultimate in a sense, as to like avoid some of the initial damage. So it will lift you up, you just won't get out of the cage. Can you put LifeWeaver Tree over the chains to break the ultimate? You can't. I mean, you'll have a LifeWeaver Tree inside of here, which is pretty sweet. It might get shredded after a little bit, but good to have for your teammates. What happens if you ult from the top of a LifeWeaver Petal and then break the Petal after? It will drop the ultimate down. What happens if you use Cage Fight on top of a LifeWeaver Petal and then destroy it? So as you can see, it will drop down and then attach to an enemy. So there actually could be a really fun play you make with that. Can LifeWeaver pull MAUGA out of the cage fight? I mean, it's kind of cool in the sense that, like, you could... All right, I think that's pretty much it. Can Lucio wall ride the cage fight? So Lucio can't wall ride the outside, nor can Lucio do that on the inside of the cage fight. So, no, Lucio can't. If Lucio was wall riding, can you use cage fight to pull the Lucio down? Yes, you can. Can Mercy Valk to get out of cage fight? Mercy can Valk, but as we've seen with most of the interactions, you're not able to really go anywhere with your mobility. You can move around the cage like that, but you can't fly up until after. Can Mercy damage boost or heal teammates through the cage? So you see, Mercy can. So if you were to Valk right now, Mercy could be on the outside of the cage, healing teammates or damage boosting without having to go in there. Can Moira fade out of the chains? No. Moira cannot use that ability with inside of the cage. Can Moira somehow fade through the cage? Moira can. So if you do it right, you'll be able to get through the cage. Can Cage Fight LOS or get a Discord orb off you? In the sense that the timer will run out if you're inside of the cage fight and the Zenyatta is on the opposite team. Or the Zenyatta, like, you see what I mean? The Discord. So you cannot be Discorded through this. Okay, so you can't be Discorded through the cage. Now, what if I have Discord orb on me as I put the cage up? We'll see if it will LOS the Discord orb. It does not. So if you have Discord orb on you when you use the cage fight, it will keep the Discord orb on you. If you don't have it on you, you can't be Discord orbed, even if the Zen's on the other side. And the same should apply for Harmony Orb. If Zenyatta uses Zen ult, will you get chained? You will get chained. So there's no way to, like, use that to escape out. It's good to have in there. I mean, you'll keep your teammates alive, but it is a long ultimate, so you gotta time it correctly. Can Cage Fight pull somebody or get them trapped into this from the low ground? So if you're below them and I use that ability, will that have that on them? It will not. So they should be able to get out of here, even though I'm in here. So if you're on the bottom part of it, you'll be trapped in it, but the person above will not be. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button. Thank you to Cactus Puppy for being able to help out with this. It was a lot of help being able to get out this video, so make sure to check out. You've probably seen a lot of Cactus Puppy's awesome stuff. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button, sub to the YouTube. If you haven't, all 3 of them. A lot of awesome videos on there. We're going to be doing a lot of really, really cool videos, so make sure to check out for those. If you want to join the Discord or check out all the stuff we do live, etc. Look in the description below. Follow everything down there. We have a lot of fun. With that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.